Hi everyone, this is Chris Henry. Thank you so much for purchasing this Moody Blues LUT pack. This will be a brief tutorial for those who either are not used to using LUTs or are interested in seeing how I would approach applying these LUTs to my own footage. If you fancy yourself an expert at using LUTs, this tutorial isn't for you. Go ahead and click off, but everyone else stick around. So jumping right in, I have loaded 10 clips here into Adobe Premiere. I'm going to be applying a bunch of the LUTs from the LUT pack and showing you what I would do to spruce up the footage. One thing to note is generally these LUTs work best with evenly lit footage, meaning footage that doesn't have a gigantic dynamic range. That would be like you filmed something during the bright daytime with the sun right overhead. That means the brights would be really bright and the shadows would be really dark. Generally, cloudy day or end of day, early day, that kind of thing. Evenly lit footage works best. So we're going to start off with this footage of this lioness I captured. I'm going to apply one of the stronger LUTs in this pack, and we're going to work our way into the more subtle LUTs and some of the more specialty LUTs. So to start things off, load your clips as I have into your timeline, and then we're always going to apply our LUTs to an adjustment layer so that we can adjust the opacity of the LUT if we need to. So in the Project tab, click on your new icon here and select Adjustment Layer, and it'll pop up here. From there, drag it over your footage, and that will start applying an edit to the footage below it. So click on the Adjustment Layer, and we're going to move on over to the Lumetri Color panel. This is where we do the majority of our color grading. If you don't see that on your screen, go to Window and click Lumetri Color. So in Basic Correction, you will see Input LUT. Go to Browse, and in your download folder, you will find the LUT pack that you just purchased. Go into number 1 to access the LUTs. And to start off with, I'm going to, as I mentioned, apply one of the stronger LUTs. I'm going to start with number 2, Matte Blue. As you can see, it darkens things off and also gives everything a very, very cold fade. I intentionally left it kind of flat so it can be more versatile and you can apply your own dynamic range from there. Usually to change the contrast or the lights and darks, I move into the Curves panel. So I'm just going to show you real quick, adding some subtle changes once you apply the LUT. A good LUT should get you 75 to 90% of the way there, but no LUT is perfect for every clip because all clips are different in their lighting, so you'll have to apply your changes from there. So even with the subtle S-curve, as I've done here, gave a little more dimension to the clip, but it's still dark and cold and very blue. I think that looks awesome. So we started here and now we're here. Looks great. Okay, moving on. Again, reach for an adjustment layer and drag it on top of your footage. This time we're going to work with this close-up clip of a golden eagle. I'm going to use, again, another one of the very strong, very blue LUTs in this pack. That'll be Midnight Moon. I created this to almost replicate what it would be like for it to just be dark out, kind of a blue darkness in the forest, maybe illuminated by moonshine, something like that. Again, you apply your LUT, should get you a decent amount of the way there, and then, whatever subtle changes you want from there. If you, going down to the hue graph here, if you wanted, to change just the overall color, maybe you like it more aqua, maybe you like it more purple, you can do that. But anyway, we started. Whoa, what happened? Sorry. We started here. Computer's being a little slow. Just give it 1 second. Started here, and now we're here. Looks cool. Okay, moving on. I'm going to apply one of the most used LUTs in my arsenal. I call this primary because I do, especially with my wildlife footage, I use this LUT probably the most to start things off. So we're going to apply number one. I called it primary. Right away, you can see it still retains some other colors, but definitely adds a very cold fade to everything, where, you know, the last one just basically makes everything a matte blue. This one is a little more restrained. But, you know, let's say subtle adjustments from here. I want to change the beat color. I'm going to move the slider here. Maybe I want it a little more orange. That looks cool. I'm going to take this opportunity to fill you in on another trick that I use to make my footage stand out, especially on these close-up wildlife clips. There's so much great detail in this bald eagle's feathers, and also in other clips in the fur. If I want those details to stand out, especially on social media, I usually add clarity to the footage. Now, clarity is something that was created to edit photos in Adobe Lightroom. It adds sharpness as well as contrast to the midtones at the same time. Unfortunately, there is no actual slider for clarity in Adobe Premiere. So I fished around on the internet, and another creator named ChungDa created an effect that you can drop on your footage that replicates what clarity can do. So I'm going to include a link down below in the description. Follow that link and it'll take you to the ChungDa's clarity page. You just have to watch his full tutorial, and then it's free from there, loaded into your effects panel. And from there, I typically grab the ChungDa low. The other ones, the high and mid, are a little too strong. So I'm going to grab the low effect and drop it on this footage. So right away, you can see that a lot of this detail, you know, punched out a little bit more, which definitely for social media, I think helps your footage stand out a little more. You can see where we were. It's a little creamy soft, and now it's got a lot more sharpness. This, unless you have a really good computer that runs quickly, this will slow down your machine pretty substantially. So either add it at the end of your edit or get yourself a $3,000 computer. But so let's say I apply this low and it's looking even too crunchy as it is. You can go into the effects control here and just start deleting some of these unsharp masks, and it'll bring back a little more of that softness. But anyway, I think that looks awesome. Again, we are using the primary LUT for this one, and I think it's pretty versatile. So I'm going to show you. I'm just going to copy that over right away to the next clip. Sorry, my hard drive is loading. What a pain. This one is of a wolf, and you can see it works with this clip as well. So I'll show you. This is where we were, and this is where we are now. Looks awesome. Moving right on, we're going to move into some of the more subtle blues. Definitely, it adds a characteristic moody tone to your footage, but it's not quite as strong as the previous ones. So again, drag an adjustment layer over your footage. Oh, where'd it go? Adjustment layer over your footage, and go to Input LUT. And for this one, aptly named, we're going to pick Subtle Blues. So this is El Capitan in Yosemite. You can see it's definitely cooled off, but it's still got some of that nice earth tones that is in the rocks, and you can even see some of the deep greens in the trees still. So a different effect, but equally as powerful. Just doing some slight minor adjustments. All right. So this is where we were, and this is where we are now. Looks awesome. Moving on to another LUT that is kind of like in the midway of adding blue to your footage. I included 3 LUTs that are just called Moody. All 3 are great, and each has its own different outcome, but for this one, I'm going to select Moody 1. Right away, you can see it adds a whole lot of blue to this time lapse of a storm, but there's still some of the earth tones left in the crops below. And I think this looks like a horror movie. I think it looks awesome. So going to keep showing you where we started and where we are now. Looks great. Not last, almost there. I think this LUT pack is super versatile. So I wanted to include some footage from a city in case you are more of an urban photographer and videographer and wanted to apply it there. I captured this just with my iPhone in my home city of Philadelphia of one of our bridges. So in this LUT pack, you will find 3 LUTs dedicated to cities. So City Blues number 1, we're going to use here. I think that looks great. It kind of adds a serious cinematic blue tone to everything, which I love. So anyway, we started off here kind of like cheery, happy, and here's kind of like added a melancholic tone to everything. Okay, moving on. Here's also in Philadelphia, something I took with my camera this time rather than just my iPhone. So we're going to this time drop number 3 on here, City Blues number 3. I think that looks awesome. So again, minor adjustments here in the curves panel, and that looks great. So this is where we started, and this is where we are now. Okay, now, last but not least, I wanted to include 2 clips and also 3 LUTs in this LUT pack that work with greens as well, because personally, I do a lot of travel to places with green, moss, grass, pastures, those kind of things. And I like to cool things off, but I still want to retain some of this nice lush greens. So I'll show you some of these LUTs, 3 of them in particular, work pretty well with greens. So I called them cold greens. We're going to go with cold greens number 1. This looks like my heart, icy and cold. Just kidding. But right away, I think this adds a kind of cinematic, serious tone to everything. And yeah, I think that looks great. It's a little flat and cheery here, and now it's got that cold, icy feel. But of course, you can still see the nice greens peeking through. And last but not least, we have one more green clip. This time, this clip is very green. This is a canyon in South Iceland. We're going to add another one of these green LUTs to it. This time, cold greens 3. Oh, well, that looks cool. I think I wanted to add cold greens 2. So cold greens 2. There we go. I think this one works better. So again, from there, go to the curves, what do you call this, panel, and add a little more dynamic range to things. All right, so right away, this is where we were, and this is where we are now. Looks great. All right, well, that's it for these 10 clips. I know I kind of moved fast there, but I don't want to talk your ear off forever. Before I forget, you will see there's one more thing included in your LUT pack that, let's see, in the number 2, it says final. This is QT gamma compensation. So in Adobe Premiere, there is a problem that still has not been addressed with something called gamma. When you export the footage, I don't really know why, but basically your exported footage that has been color graded doesn't quite look exactly like you made it in Adobe Premiere because it's missing something called gamma. So when we go to export, this is the export menu. Let's say you wanted to kick out this footage. You're going to want to go to Effects, click Lumetri Look LUT. This is basically adding a LUT to the export. And where are we? Downloads. From here, you're going to want to add QT gamma compensation. And that will reintroduce gamma into your footage, and it'll look much closer to how you actually want your footage to look. So from there, export it, and it'll look good. Anyway, that's all for now, guys. I do want to mention that I offer one-on-one coaching. So if you wanted to do a deeper dive on a lot of these principles, a lot of these concepts, if you want to talk more about getting into the nitty-gritty of editing footage, or if you just want to talk anything photography related whatsoever, whether that's travel or client acquisition or creating a website, etc., I'd be happy to do so. So feel free to DM me or email me at any time. And with that being said, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with.